Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a wonderful day so far. Today's video is going to be a good old-fashioned sit-down Q&A. I feel like I haven't done one of these in a few months. I love doing these just because I feel like you guys get to know me a little bit more. I feel like we're just kind of like hanging out and chatting, and you guys asked me a bunch of questions from literally every category. Nothing was really off limits. I talk about everything from like motherhood, marriage, vlogging, just life, like everything. So I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much to QVC for sponsoring today's video. I have some really beautiful fashion items to share with you guys today, so let me do a little haul. I found some really beautiful and chic loungewear from QVC, and I was actually really surprised by the brands that I found, including Barefoot Dreams, you guys. I think I've shared with you guys my obsession with Barefoot Dreams on my channel, the blankets, but this is my first time trying out their clothing. It's basically the same material as a blanket, just a little bit thinner and like lightweight, but it is so cozy and soft, and I'm so excited to wear these like all fall winter long. This top is by the brand called Peace Love World, and it came in a few other colors. It's like a dolman sleeve and it's longer in the back, and it's super soft. It does come in a few other colors, but it's also like really good quality, and I loved these two paired together. I also got a Barefoot Dreams cardigan from QVC. This is the circle cardigan in the shade taupe. I got a medium in the cardigan, and in the pants, these are the faded rose track pants in size small. So I just wanted to get like a little bit bigger size in the cardigan, just so it's a little bit more oversized and cozy, but I'm just so happy with these pieces. I also picked up a pair of Barefoot Dreams cozy fuzzy socks. These would make a beautiful gift, but I love these when it's super cold in the winter time because my feet just get so cold, and I love this material. This is a black jumpsuit by the Ready to Wear collection by Jason Wu at QVC. It has this really pretty wrap detail. I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to style this in just a second, but they have so many brands that you just wouldn't expect at QVC, like Rebecca Minkoff, which I just got this bag. I'll show you guys how I like style all of this together. Okay, Alaina was here, so let me clean this mirror real fast so I can actually show you this outfit. Okay, much better, but this is the jumpsuit styled. I think this would be actually perfect for work, to be honest. This jumpsuit is so comfortable and just like flowy, and I love this length. I'm 5'7", and I think it's a really good length on me to like show off my sandals. I just threw on white sandals and a white blazer, and then this is the Rebecca Minkoff bag that I got from QVC. You guys, this is a really good option for a designer bag that's not in the thousands of dollars. It's amazing quality, and this neutral color will match literally everything, and I love that it can be worn as like a top handle or crossbody, and it's just like a really perfect size. So I love that. There's just so many good brands to choose from now on QVC for fashion. Like I said, Jason Wu, Rebecca Minkoff, and then Barefoot Dreams, and then the loungewear collection by Alaina Villasante, the Peace Love World. There's also the actress Candace Cameron Bure's casual wear line, and then there's more brands like Splendid, Liverpool, NYJD, Vince Camuto, Gen 7 by 7 for All Mankind. There's just so many good brands to check out on there, so I will leave a link to them down below in the description box, along with all the pieces that I picked up from QVC. So thanks again to them for sponsoring this video. Let's sit down and do these questions. I asked you guys over on my Instagram this morning to just send me questions from any category: motherhood, nursing, blogging, literally everything. It's been a while since I've done like just a general Q&A. I think it was like back during Ramadan, so maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. I thought we'd just do a little bit of like kind of a catch up slash answer some questions I've like never answered before. So number one is, how do you handle criticism from family that says that YouTube isn't a real job? I thought I'd answer this because I actually have had like a lot of experiences where people just don't consider this as an actual job. I guess I can understand, because before I started blogging, like I would see girls who posted their pictures online. I would just be like, what do they actually do though? Like, what do they do? Like, they just take pictures and just post themselves and make money? Like, how do they make money from that? But I've gotten this from like coworkers, like right before I quit my job, they would be like, so what are you gonna do? Just like take pictures for a living and just like stay at home and like sit on the couch and do nothing? And I'm just like, no, but how can you explain that to people? Like, it's just hard to explain. My immediate family knows that this is like a real job, and they're like very supportive, but I do have like some like distant relatives and friends that are just like, I don't know, they just like don't really acknowledge that this is a thing, I guess. Shay Whitney, which is another YouTuber I watched, she was kind of talking about this, about how friends or family members, they just like don't talk, like ask like how's work or what, like a normal job like people would do. And it's kind of the exact same for me. They just kind of like completely ignore that this whole thing exists. But I feel like it's just hard to explain to some people sometimes. And as long as you're making money and saving for the future and you know you're doing what's best for your family, then we just realize that we just have to not care. The next question is, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I have never answered one like this before, mainly because I don't usually think 10 years ahead, which I guess everyone should, but that's a long time. I was thinking about this. In 10 years, I'm gonna be 37, which seems so old to me, which oh my gosh, I should not say that. It's not old, it's just like it used to feel like that was so old. Yeah. I mean, even 27 used to feel old, and now I'm like 27. I'm like, wow, what was I thinking? But in 10 years, I feel like I would love to like have my family complete, inshallah. I would love to have, I don't know, 3 kids. We used to say 4, but now we're like maybe 3. I would love to have another business along with the social media platforms that I have, just so that I don't have to be like vlogging until I'm like 60 years old. So I would love to have some other kind of business. I would love to like be in our dream house, like our forever house with our family, and just be living life and enjoying life, I guess. That's my that's what I'd love to be doing in 10 years. The next one is, where is Omar's family located? We rarely see them in stories or vlogs. So I wanted to answer this because I feel like I've kind of gotten messages like that here and there, and they actually live like very close by, like in the same town as my family, and we see them probably like at least a couple times a week, if not more, because Omar's mom actually watches Alaina like at least 2-3 times a week, and we have a really close relationship with them. It's just that like I guess you guys see my family a lot more on social media because like my sisters also do this, and it's also their part of their job, and my family's just like a lot more comfortable like being on camera and stuff, except for my mom. She gets a little bit like nervous whenever we pull the camera out, and she like hides sometimes. That's kind of like why you see them more. But like whenever we're with Omar's family, we just try to be respectful because not everyone wants to be like on camera being shown to like thousands of people. We just try to be like respectful and keep it like family time whenever we're with them. So that's why I guess you guys don't see them as much. Next is, how do you plan to have quality time with Omar? We have been trying to implement date nights. We're so blessed to have like my family and his family being able to watch Alaina like all throughout the week. We realize how blessed we are to be able to just like have that and like be able to call my mom and be like, hey, we want to go on a date night. So we've been trying to do that every like Saturday night or Sunday night and just like go out to eat for a couple of hours. I want to get better about planning more like activities for us to do together rather than just like going out to eat, like maybe like going and doing pottery or like taking some kind of like painting class, or like I don't know, just like something that would be more fun. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions in the comments or what you guys like to do on date night, but we've just been kind of boring and just like going out to eat for a couple of hours. Which advice can you give breastfeeding moms who have phobia of doing it in public? So basically moms who are scared of like breastfeeding in public. My advice, well, I don't know if everyone has this option, but I always used to breastfeed in the car. If I didn't like feel comfortable in the public space I was in, I would just like go and quickly like breastfeed in the car and then come back if I was like at a restaurant or something. But I have now gotten so much more comfortable with just like putting my nursing cover on and nursing while I'm sitting at the table at the restaurant or like even at the airport or whatever. I guess I just realized that like I'm just feeding my baby. It's natural. It is not anything to be ashamed of, and I feel like our society is doing a really good job of breaking those stereotypes now, and that people are just normalizing it more, which I love. I think if you're just worried that you're gonna like flash somebody in public, like just use the nursing cover at home and like practice with it a little bit to get comfortable before you just like, you know, start breastfeeding in public. I think it's just all like a mindset thing. A lot of times we think everyone's staring at us and like we're so insecure and thinking like everyone's judging us or whatever, but it's our own insecurities. To be honest, I feel like if someone was to see me breastfeeding, they may not even realize it because, I don't know, they might glance and not even realize, or if they do, they might think, oh, she's breastfeeding, and then just like move on with their lives, and who cares? So just keep doing you and just don't worry about what anyone thinks. The next one is, how did you afford a house so young? Did your parents help? I started my nursing job about a year before we actually got married, and I was living at home during that time, so I saved up pretty much my entire salary for a year before we got married and moved in together and had to start paying for a mortgage. My parents actually helped us with the building process, so my dad was technically our builder. He has just like experience with building, so he was able to like do that for us, so we didn't have to pay for a builder's fee, which cut off like a ton of money with building, but we didn't receive like any like financial help from them. They helped us along the way, but we paid for everything, if that makes sense. Will you share the building process? So if you guys missed, in a previous vlog I shared that we're building a house, and yes, we're gonna be sharing pretty much the whole process with you guys. We're hoping to do a house series, and we already went ahead and started the first video where we showed you guys like a lot tour and gave you guys like an overview of the land, and we also are going to be sharing with you guys the house plans and like walking you through that process. So I think it's going to be really fun. We're just waiting on them to start breaking ground before we like actually share it, but I'm really excited about that. This one asked, do you think being a nurse made you a better mother? I thought hard about this one because I was like, well, being a labor and delivery nurse, I felt a little bit more prepared for like taking care of a newborn, but that doesn't necessarily make you like a better mother. I think every mother is like equipped with their own like set of maternal instincts, and you do not need to go to school for that. I think every mom is the best mom for their baby. I did feel like more comfortable like bringing my baby home just because I knew like what to look out for and what to worry about, what not to worry about, but I don't think it like necessarily made me a better mother. Will you make sure to teach Alaina Arabic, or are you not thinking about it? So I would love for Alaina to be able to speak Arabic, but as you guys know, I don't actually speak Arabic. Omar speaks Arabic and his whole family does. So whenever Alaina is at his mom's house, she speaks to her in Arabic 100% of the time. I feel like Omar could do better at speaking to her in Arabic, even though he tells me that he is really doing it, but I just don't really. It's just easy to like speak English to her because I speak English and we speak English in this house, so it's like a little bit more of an effort to say the English word and the Arabic word when we're talking to her. We're trying, but I don't think she's gonna be fluent, but I would love it if she would just at least be able to understand. That's kind of, I don't know, I guess that's our goal, is just for her to be able to understand. This one asked, what did motherhood do to you? So I thought this was funny because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, are you talking about like what did it do to my body? What did it do to my sanity? It did a lot of things. I don't know, it just changed the way that I think in my daily life. I'm always considering someone else, and I feel like marriage does that to you as well. Like when you get married, you're not just thinking about yourself anymore, you're thinking about you and your husband, but like this is like a whole another level. This is like an extension of me, and like I am like completely responsible for this little being's well-being and livelihood and just keeping her alive basically. So yeah, it's just, I guess that is the biggest change in my life. This one asks, second child? Question mark, question mark, question mark. I got a ton of these, I knew I would. I think I've mentioned to you guys in previous vlogs about how we were thinking about having another baby a little bit soon, so that Alaina and the new baby would be like 2 years apart, but we have now decided that we're not ready for another baby, and I need a little bit of time to just like have my body back to myself. We started thinking about this whenever Alaina turned 1, because I was thinking like, well, I've got to wean her and then we have to start trying again, and then it was just all these things and it just felt so overwhelming. I wasn't ready to wean Alaina yet, and we just decided we're gonna wait. We're thinking maybe like next spring we'll start trying again. I mean, this is not even in our hands, you know, this is all up to God anyway, but that's kind of what our plan is just to like wait a little bit longer, and maybe they'll be like 2.5 or 3 years apart. I'm actually a little bit relieved after we made that decision, because it was just gonna be way too soon. How do you work at home while Alaina is home? And I laughed when I first read this one because I do not. I cannot work when she's here. Oh my gosh, props to any of you moms who work from home with your baby. It is not easy. I mean, I cannot even barely send one email or read one email for that matter when she's with me, because she just gets upset if I'm not playing with her. Something that I really have implemented recently, whenever I'm doing something, whether it's work or like mom life or whatever, I really just focus on that one thing. I've started having like my mom or Omar's mom watch Alaina for a few hours so I can get work done during the day, and whenever I'm working, I'm just like all in, filming, planning, like emails, like all that stuff is during that time. And then whenever I have Alaina again, I can just be 100% mom again and just give her my full undivided attention, and I feel like I can just be better at my job and better being a mom whenever I do that, rather than just trying to do it all at once, because it's so hard. What's your best motherhood moment so far? Whenever I was thinking about this, I mean, there's obviously like so many amazing moments and I can't even think of all of them, but one thing that really stood out to me was when she first smiled, you guys. It was, I don't know, I think she was like what, like 6 weeks or so, like super tiny. Up to that point, obviously they're just crying, sleeping, eating, like just all like the basic functions, and you're just kind of like in survival mode. But then when they first like actually smile at you, it's like that acknowledgement that there's that relationship there, and I literally cried. It was so cute and just so memorable. What qualities of Omar did you fall for? Obviously, I thought he was super handsome, but he's also just like a really good guy. I mean, I feel like everyone who knows him knows he's just like would do anything for anyone that he cares about. He's just thoughtful, helpful. He's just like that person that you go to whenever you like need something, you need help. He's like always there for his friends, and he was always there for me. He always just made me feel really taken care of and safe. And yeah, I guess that's what drew me to him. What is the biggest lesson you've learned about beauty as a blogger? I guess just over the years of like taking pictures of myself and watching videos of myself and like seeing how I've done my makeup, I've realized that less is more. Like I used to wear like darker eyeliner and eyeshadow and like lipstick, and I just feel like it's not as flattering on me as like more natural makeup. So yeah, less is more. Is it true that having a baby strengthens a marriage? I would say that having a baby really tests your marriage, and it brings out like your strengths and your weaknesses. I would say that working as a team, like with Omar, like in the newborn phase when we're sleep deprived and we're trying to keep a baby alive, we would work together, and like he would take over and then I would take over, and like, you know, we would really work together, and that would be really good for us. And then there'll be moments when we're both exhausted and we like snap at each other. It just brings out like the best and the worst, I feel like, of you. But as far as like strengthening a marriage, I feel like you definitely have to work harder to keep that bond, because I guess in just our experience, having Alaina, all of our attention just goes straight to her. I guess just because she's still so small, we just really have to like focus on us sometimes and just make sure that we take that time for ourselves to work on our marriage, whether it's date night or whatever it is, like while she's napping, just making sure that we have that one-on-one time. Have you ever had problems getting a job as a nurse and as a hijabi? Future MD and inshallah future hijabi here. Oh, that's awesome, girl. I actually never had a problem like getting a job as a hijabi, but I did kind of feel like sometimes I had to prove myself more as a hijabi, if that makes any sense. Like just working with my coworkers and my management, I always just felt like I had to work like 10 times harder to prove that I'm just like everyone else. I can do the job just like everyone else can and do it well. I have a little story that I've never shared online before because it was a really hard, one of like those moments in my life that was just so hard for me, and I've honestly felt like a little ashamed from it sometimes. I was working as a labor and delivery nurse for about a year at this point. I wasn't like a brand new nurse, but I obviously didn't have like, you know, years and years of experience, and my management sat me down and told me that they wanted to move me to another department in the hospital, and I was devastated because labor and delivery was like my passion. I loved working with the moms. Like I was just starting to feel like I knew what I was doing, and basically was so confused because there was absolutely no reason for them to move me. I had never had any bad outcomes. I never had like anything go wrong. Like I was like always so like nice, and my patients always loved having me, and it was just, I thought it was going so well. And at first, honestly, I thought it was maybe because like I wore hijab. Now thinking back, I really believe that it was just that I wasn't portraying myself as like a super confident person. I think if I had like shown up and just acted like I knew exactly what I was doing, because I did know what I was doing, I was just new, and so I was always like a little bit hesitant about certain things here and there, or asking more questions just to make 100% sure. So I think maybe that worried them in some way. At that time, I may have worried that it was because of my hijab, but who really knows? I think as long as you are portraying yourself as a confident person, I think that's gonna help you in the long run, and it shouldn't matter whether you wear hijab or not. Is there a brand or specific product you regret posting about? So this is a good question, and it takes me back to like my first couple years of blogging. I was not planning on this being like a job, you guys. Like it was just for fun, and whenever I started getting brand deals, I was like, what? Like this is something you can make money from? And I just was excited to work with anyone. Like I was so excited. So I think I worked with this company that did like the detox teas on my Instagram, and I really regret working with that company. At the time, like I said, was just excited to work with anyone, but now I'm a lot more selective. I really try to work with only brands that like I personally use and would recommend to you guys. I've learned like so much since then, but yeah, there definitely been brands like that in the past that I'm like, oh, I would never really work with them now. Do you believe in 50-50 in marriage? I thought this was a really good question. I actually don't believe in 50-50 in marriage. I feel like each person in the marriage brings like strengths and weaknesses to the table. Like for example, Omar literally almost never cooks, and I do not hold that against him because he doesn't enjoy it. It's just not his thing, but I enjoy cooking most of the time. I mean, sometimes it's kind of a pain, but I enjoy cooking. I am pretty good at it, and it's something that I feel happy to do. So I don't mind that he doesn't help with that. But there's things that he does, like our finances or cleaning out the garage or like mowing the lawn or like those like things that I would never do. He doesn't get mad at me for not doing those things. I don't think it's healthy to like keep tabs on like who's doing what, even though I feel like sometimes I kind of do that with Omar. I'm like, I watched Alaina all day and you blah blah blah, but I really do not need to do that because there are days that I go get my hair done and my nails done and he watches her all day. We just kind of like pick up the slack where each other needs it, and we're just a team. So I don't feel like we have to make sure it's completely 100% 50-50. Do you regret not sleep training? I couldn't either, but I'm so exhausted every day. I thought this was a good one because I feel you, girl. Like I couldn't not sleep train, but yes, Alaina still wakes up frequently and there are days I'm so exhausted, but you know what, Alaina is gonna be small for just such a short period of time. It's not gonna last forever. I don't know if like obviously every baby is different. Like I'm sure there are some babies that maybe it's easier to sleep train them, because we did try, but let me tell you guys, my baby is loud and she is strong-willed. She is gonna get what she wants, and I'm just so weak. I was too weak. I couldn't listen to her cry. Maybe my motherly instincts are just so strong in that way. Like just hearing her cry, I cannot handle it. Like I have to fix something. We're just hoping it doesn't last forever, which we know it won't. How is life with 3-month-old Alaina versus 1-year-old Alaina, and which one did you enjoy more? 3-month-old Alaina was almost done with the colic stage. We were so, oh gosh, we were so overwhelmed with her like just crying inconsolably. That was so hard in the newborn stage. They're not as interactive. I mean, they definitely are, but like now that she's 1, it's just so much more fun because we can like interact and laugh and play, and she's just so fun because she's learning so much so fast. It's funny because like I always look back at like pictures of her when she was tiny and I'm like, oh, I just wish she was small again. But then I think back to like how it actually was during that time, and I was so stressed. It was just not as fun as it is now. So I would say, I guess I'm enjoying it more. What's something you promised yourself that your content won't include? I thought this was actually a really good question because I've never really thought about that so specifically what I'm not gonna post, because you guys know I pretty much share within reason like my whole life with you guys. Like you guys know so much about me, but one thing that I told myself that I know that I will never do is I will not get on my social media and complain about my life, because I don't know, that's just one of my biggest pet peeves is when I get on stories or whatever and people are just like complaining about things. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I have my bad days and I complain to like my husband and whatever, but I will not do that to you guys. Like you guys are looking for positivity, and I also do try to show the reality of certain things, like the reality of being a mom or being, I don't know, a wife or whatever it is. Like I never want to act like I'm perfect because no one is, but there's always a way to remind yourself to be grateful for the situation you're in no matter what. I guess I just try to keep things more positive. When are you planning to stop breastfeeding? So I don't think I've actually updated you guys on this, but I have kind of like a loose plan to wean her around December. Again, like my last plan was to wean her when she was 1 and that was out the window, so we'll see what it's like, but we're just gonna hopefully start slowly dropping feeds. Right now she feeds 4 times a day, 5 at the most if she's like sick or something. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start dropping the feeds during the day because those are like the easiest to distract her with food or toys or whatever it is. The hardest right now is the one in the very early morning at like 6:30 and the one right before she goes to sleep. So those will probably be like the last 2 that we're just like left with at the very end. But if you guys have any weaning tips, leave it down below in the comments, but we have a few more months probably of breastfeeding. Okay, the last question is, how did Omar make the decision to quit his job? How has the transition been? So I thought I'd answer this because I did mention it in a previous vlog that Omar quit his nursing job. It's been several months now, but I didn't know if like everyone knew that. He is so much happier. We're both so much happier now that he's home. He helps me behind the scenes with a lot of like the business stuff, like the finances and all of that accounting stuff that I don't know anything about. He edits all my videos for YouTube, for Instagram, and he also is just so much more present for Alaina, which we love. It's also a lot more flexible. Like if we want to like travel or go somewhere, we don't have to like make sure that he has to ask off or trade with someone or whatever. It's just so much more easy in that way. So the transition has been very smooth and we're very happy, alhamdulillah. Thank you guys for sending in your questions. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I would love it if you guys would subscribe and join the family. If you guys are interested in shopping fashion at QVC, I will leave a link down below in the description box, or you can search style makers on QVC.com. Thanks again to QVC for sponsoring today's video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.